What's up guys, Mike here, and this is kind of a bittersweet and kind of somber-ish video, because as a Mario fan, this kind of hit me hard, and it kind of took me a couple of days to actually come up with the right words to even say or talk about this. But, as you guys know, the voice actor of Super Mario is Charles Martinet, and he's been doing this for about 27 years now, almost 3 decades of voicing Mario. On August 21st, 2023, Nintendo of America actually put out a tweet talking about Charles Martinet stepping back from being the role of Mario's voice. So if you guys don't know, Charles Martinet does the voice of Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, Baby Mario, and plenty of other characters in the Mushroom Kingdom as well. And it's kind of wild to think about the fact that he's actually stepping back and retiring. He's going to be stepping into a new role as Mario Ambassador. And I am honestly incredibly happy about that, because I believe that Charles deserves nothing but the most love and respect going into retirement, because he's been doing this for a very long time. It's just a sad thing to think about also, because again, the same way that we think about, the sky is blue, the grass is green, water is wet. To me, Charles Martinet will always be the voice of Mario. I can't think of anyone else that would have done Mario's voice, because he's been around since the Nintendo 64 era. And it's funny, because Nintendo of America actually put out the fact that he did his first role in Super Mario 64, but funny enough, that wasn't my first role of actually hearing Charles Martinet's voice. It's actually another game on the Nintendo 64 that ended up getting me to hear Charles Martinet's voice for the first time. And if you guys already know where it come from, it's the game that got me into gaming in the first place. And it's this clip right here.
Welcome to Mario Kart!
Hearing Charles Martinet just scream, "Welcome to Mario Kart," and, hearing Mario going off on the tracks and stuff with the woohoos and the, yeah, ha ha ha, all that good stuff. That was my first taste of hearing Charles Martinet as the voice of Mario, and, Charles hasn't really missed a beat in the last 3 decades, and we've had him as the voice of Mario for so many adventures that, are a part of my childhood, between all the Mario Kart games, Super Mario 64 when I eventually got to play that on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario 3D World. Charles has been around for a long time. He's been doing this for such a long time, and it's kind of crazy that the day has finally come where he actually is stepping back from the voice of Mario. And I'll be honest, I shed a few tears here and there, because I can't imagine anyone else, filling Charles' shoes, because, Charles has always been Mario for the last 3 decades. But it's just incredible that we got to know such a kind person to voice the role of Mario for so long and whatnot. And I'm glad that he's going to hopefully be going around and actually, seeing other people and hopefully meeting more Nintendo fans, because I was lucky enough to meet Charles once or twice, thanks to a couple of trips that he made to the Nintendo New York store. And I will always remember when I first got to meet Charles, because when Nintendo World was a thing and they did reconstruction on the 2nd floor to make way for the giant 75-foot screen, or the giant screen that has games or whatever, I forget how long it actually is and whatnot. But when they were doing the construction for that and whatnot, and they reopened the store, Charles Martinet was actually there to actually promote the reopening of the Nintendo New York store. And I just remember making my girlfriend get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to get on the train to go to the Nintendo New York store. It was freezing cold. And we stood in the cold for a good 6 or 7 hours before we got to finally go inside the store at 10 o'clock. They had a whole thing where they were selling a bunch of the shirts and whatnot to all the grand reopening shirts and whatnot. And, the first 250 people that ended up going into the store and making a purchase to buy the shirts and whatnot also got to meet Charles Martinet. And I was lucky enough to get there early enough where I was number, I want to say 50, 55 I was relatively towards the front of the line. I was kind of nervous about not getting my chance to after making my girlfriend get up and whatnot, but I was lucky enough to meet him, and I just remember waiting on the second floor for him to come out, and I remember hearing him doing the Mario impression in person. Like, how chills just went down my spine and how happy he made everybody, and it was just a beautiful thing, because when it comes to Charles is a very kind-hearted person. Like, I can tell you from the few times I've gotten to meet him that Charles will literally take as much time as possible to do the Mario voice for everybody on the line, and he did that both of the times I got to meet him back in 2016 and in 2017 for another event that I forgot what it was for. And it's like, I couldn't have been more proud to meet such a kind-hearted man that cared so much about his fans, and you know, seeing him step into the role of Mario Ambassador makes me incredibly happy as well, because I genuinely hope that, you know, I get to meet him at least one more time, because now that I feel like he's going to be a Mario Ambassador now, I feel like I need to bring it full circle and actually take a copy of Mario Kart 64 complete in box and have him sign it at some point. Hopefully maybe next year, Too Many Games or something like that. But again, I just remember Charles being such a kind person. He like personalized everyone's autographs when he was at the Nintendo New York store. And I remember my legs and hands completely shaking as I went up to him. And I literally was just like saying, wow, it's incredibly wonderful to meet you. Thank you for being such an integral part of my childhood and everything. And I could see that he was like choking up a little bit, and he said, oh, thank you so much and whatnot. And I'm going to probably play it towards the end of the video, but he actually did a recording for me with me and him together on camera, and he was like, hey, it's Super Mike. And I just remember, like, legitimately, you know, feeling the chills down my spine as he did that and whatnot. And he was so touched by me, like, thanking him so much for my entire childhood and whatnot, that he actually signed, like, 3 autographs for me. One of which I still have over my bed, which he personalized. He wrote Super Mike on it. But the other 2 autographs, he ended up just writing, he just signed his name and whatnot. And, you know, which again, I very much appreciated. So, the same way that Charles shows kindness towards all of his fans, I paid it forward that year. And during our Switch and Play, I think that was like maybe one of the first or second years of doing Switch and Play when we were first starting out in the Nintendo Switch line. But I remember during the holiday party how I ended up actually putting up one of the autographs to Charles Martinet up for a raffle and whatnot for one of the members of Switch and Play to take home. So I remember making someone very happy that day, and I just remember them like gushing about the fact that they actually got an autograph from Charles Martinet, because they weren't able to make it to the Nintendo New York store, and you know, it felt good to pay it forward and actually, you know, send an autograph to somebody else. And I remember in 2017, I forget what the event was for, but I also met Charles then. He remembered me from the Nintendo New York opening as well. I think it might have been either for Super Mario 3D All-Stars, or maybe it was for Mario and Rabbids. I don't 100% remember, but he was also nice enough to sign my copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I still have sitting on my dresser in my room and whatnot. And again, it's just really wonderful seeing all the memories and seeing everybody actually posting, you know, all the clips of the nice stuff that Charles has done, all the times he's voiced Mario and whatnot for advertisements, and also just making some people like extremely happy that we're able to make it out to the Nintendo store and whatnot. Personally, I have a feeling that maybe now as a Mario Ambassador, we might be able to see him again for Super Mario Wonder now that we have a new voice actor. Which, by the way, shoutouts to the new voice actor. We don't know who he is or who they are. But I also gotta give the people that were watching the Nintendo Direct and saying that it was a different voice an apology, because I genuinely thought that was still Charles. And it just goes to show that, yes, the new voice actor is going to have a huge role to fill in terms of everything, in terms of trying to be the next voice for Mario, because, again, you know, there's been other interpretations of Mario as well, like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show and the Super Mario Bros. 3 show and whatnot, and you know, it's going to be a huge role to fill. I feel like the new voice actor is going to have a lot of pressure and really big boots to fill, so to speak. I don't know if we're going to only have like one voice actor for all the characters, or if they're going to have multiple voice actors now for different characters, but again, anyone that, you know, ends up trying to dump on the new voice actor should automatically just remember that they're taking the place of a complete legend here, and, you know, we all need to do our best to support the new voice actor, whoever they may be, or new voice actors, depending on who they get for, you know, Mario, Luigi, Wario, Waluigi, and all of that. Because it's gonna be a huge role to fill, and I genuinely hope that the new voice actor has an easy time adjusting to things. I hope that Charles is also mentoring the new voice actor for the sidelines as well, because I'm sure that Charles had to be in some shape or form part of the selection process, because the person that they did for Mario Wonder sounded pretty spot on. Like, if I close my eyes, I can still picture that being Mario in the trailer. But again, I can't thank you enough, Charles, for all the years that you've given me and actually given me a reason to be a video gamer and legitimately a content creator in general, because Mario Kart 64 is what started all for me, and, you know, if it wasn't for that, you know, I wouldn't even be making content or even making this video right now. So again, Charles, just thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you for being an integral part of my childhood. Like I've said before, like, you were a part of everyone's childhood during the N64 era, and, you know, seeing you in this new role, I hope that you're honestly happy, and I hope that you enjoy retirement in this new role, and I hope that you get to rest and take it easy. And I honestly think that it's a beautiful thing that Charles got to go out voicing Jumpman in the Mario movie in the pizzeria and saying, "That's a perfect." And also the voice of Mario's father, and literally the last line of the movie being, "These are my boys." And, you know, it's the truth, Charles. They are your boys. You gave life to Mario and Luigi and all these wonderful characters for almost 3 decades, and that is something I will always cherish as part of my gaming history. And I hope that a lot of people have a lot of good Mario memories as well to share, and a lot of good ways to thank you over the next couple of years, and honestly for a long time, because, you know, you brought the voice of Mario to life, and that is something that nobody should take for granted. And I only hope that the next voice actors that take on these roles end up doing just as much of a legendary job as you did. So again, I'm gonna leave you with the clip at the Nintendo New York store, but thank you, Charles, for absolutely everything, and, you know, I wish you nothing but the best and the most health, wealth, and happiness in your new role as Mario Ambassador. It's recording already.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
It's a me, Mario. Woohoo! With Super Mike, #1.
Charles Martinet, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.